I grew up Protestant, and then after my first divorce, I converted to Catholicism, my only divorce. And as of last month, I converted to Meerschaum. That is a black Meerschaum. I don't know if you can see all that or not because I'm blocking the screen. Extra large billiard. And in it, I'm smoking some St. James Flake. So I figured I'd do a little talk in my most natural state. No fancy backdrop or stage props, just in my normal smoking chair, smoking my pipe. I'd like to begin by saying Slavia Krenny. So if you have a pipe, have a morning smoke with me while I'm smoking my smoking my pipe and having my morning coffee. The weather outside is frightful. It's supposed to have more storms moving in the metro Nashville area. Really cloudy. You might ask, why do you have your sunglasses on? The answer is because I like these sunglasses. So just a few bits and bats. We were supposed to be leaving for New York tonight. Willie was supposed to be doing the show by himself. Well, the show will be taking place here because we're not going to New York. We canceled the trip due to the fact that our bathroom we've been remodeling has not been fully completed. And BR's tail infection is still infected. And the wife did not want to leave an infected BR with a dog sitter. So BR is going to be having surgery here soon. And so if you would put BR on your prayer list. I don't think it's going to be a serious surgery. I hope everybody's well this morning. I'm doing quite well. I didn't take a melatonin last night, and I actually feel sort of awake today. It takes me a while to get over the melatonin. Like yesterday, I got out of the melatonin phase at about 6 p.m. This extra large black Meerschaum is like a day and a half smoke, so I got enough St. James's Flake in here for at least till tomorrow. I like it. I don't know if I'm supposed to age this or not. It's not as spicy as I thought it might be. I like my Perique spicy. So my wife was driving down Harding Road, or Boulevard, whatever it's called, one of the major thoroughfares in Nashville. This was 2 days ago, or 2 nights ago. She was on her way home from work. And she was right in front of the Burger King and noticed a commotion in the road. Cars were swerving in and out. And she didn't know what the problem was. And then she noticed two beautiful dogs dodging cars. And of course, my wife pulled over to the side of the road along with another lady and some construction crew guys. And my wife opened her car door and whistled for the two dogs. And the two dogs left the middle of the road and jumped into my wife's car. Now, I FaceTimed her on the way home. And she couldn't talk very long. And I noticed there was two dogs in the car with her, and I didn't really compute. I just said, hurry home. Anyway, she tried to take the dogs to the pound. And the pound was closed on Mondays. Which makes you wonder, why is a pound closed on Mondays? Anyway, she tried to call a few veterinarians, and they were also closed. I guess it's like barbershops now. So it ended up that the two dogs, which ended up being huskies, were brought to the house. And I will now show you the reaction of the two dogs that currently live here, Jax, the super mutt, and BR, the bulldog. This is their reaction to these two dogs visiting our house. So anyways, we said, well, we have to do something with these two dogs. So we went to a emergency vet, and they pulled out the scanner and scanned their chips, and they both were chipped. And their owners' names were April and Bianca. So the chip people tried to call them and say, hey, your dogs have been found. Now, these dogs did not have collars. Which was very mysterious to me, considering these are very nice Siberian Huskies, beautiful blue eyes. I couldn't look them in the eyes because they melted me. They kept looking at me like, we're yours now. BR and Jax were like, no, they're not yours now. We're yours. Those are somebody else's dogs. Anyway, we did the chip thing, called, no response. They left my wife's phone number for the owners to call. Never heard from anybody. My wife went and spent like $600 buying crates for the dogs and such. And we brought the dogs back home. Now, at that point in time, I FaceTimed my son and said, hey, look who we have here. My son says it's an act of God. These dogs have found a home. So now that means that we would have 4 dogs at this house and 2 cats. At that point in time, I thought, well, we're probably going to ended up keeping these dogs, which are beautiful. One was a female named Luna, which is a name I do approve of. The other one was a male named Kronos, which I thought was such a terrible dog name. Kronos, that's the name of a Korg keyboard. I used to have one and I sold it. So anyway, the dogs stayed outside And we let BR and Jax out to play with them. Jax enjoyed his time with Kronos, surprisingly. BR did not enjoy his time with them. BR was under the impression that the dogs had to go. At that time and point, I thought the dogs were staying. At that point in time, I thought, man, it's going to be tough to walk 4 dogs. Surely somebody owns these dogs. Now, the dogs had different odors, but they acted like brother and sister. They were inseparable. So we did a little bit more research on these dogs. Y'all have a safe trip. We did a little bit more research on these dogs, and we find out that the Huskies do not like cats and will hunt them down and kill them. So we were at an impasse. We want to save these dogs. We don't want to take them to the pound for fear of them being separated. But we can't risk them eating Lou or Rudy, our 2 feline brothers. Lou and Rudy were fascinated by the dogs, but then their attitude changed and they started hissing. So they must have had a cat sense that these dogs would probably eat them. BR was totally against the situation, totally against the dogs being there. He pouted. I think BR started suffering from Napoleon's disease because all 3 of the other dogs were quite taller than him. So the next day we were trying to figure out, well, we can't find anybody to keep them. We've posted that we found these dogs and nobody's responded. We're going to have to spend a lot of money taking these dogs to the vet, and they might eat Lou. You know, the weight was going toward we have to take them to the pound. We didn't want to because we were feared that the dogs would be separated. And that tore up my wife's heart, and mine as well. So I've been wearing these glasses ever since so the dogs would not look me in the eye. They have Medusa type eyes. We have a gentleman here working on the downstairs bathroom and the hallway. We made some changes. I hadn't been able to do music for a while because of the changes in the house. And everything in downstairs has had 5 inches of dust on it, including BR. And the dogs are outside. They would sort of stay in their crate that we bought them, or my wife bought them, but they were getting wet. Well, our contractor put up an awning for the dogs to stay under. And we thought, man, that's great. And the contractor's helper said, I know some people that'll take these dogs. And I was like, that's no way possible. I was like, well, I really hope so. That would be great. Well, none of them could take the dogs. So we were going to have to take the dogs to the vet. But lo and behold, finally the contractor said, I'll take the dogs home with me. I'll keep them. So, the end of the story is that the dogs went home with the guy who's fixed our bathroom. The dogs are now together. The dogs have a home. The contractor sent my wife photos of the family rejoicing that they have 2 new Siberian Huskies. Surely I haven't smoked all this day-long St. James flake, but it's failing the light. Maybe I'll do some fancy editing. So the dogs went home with our contractor and now have a home. So they went from the middle of Harding Road, almost being killed, to my wife doing gracious angel-like work and putting the dogs in a car, to we finding the dogs a home. It's all part of the plan. Everything's part of the plan. I'm very grateful that the dogs have a home, that BR is happy, and that Lou is still with us. They were never called Rudy. Last but not least, I had said earlier that I was going to England. And then I had said later that I canceled the trip to England because the wife didn't want to go. Now, I am going to England. The wife is staying here. She doesn't want to go to England because she doesn't like soccer. She doesn't like rain and she doesn't like cold. She said, I want you to go. This is your first football missionary trip and I want you to go. I finally said, okay, I'll go. So I am flying to England in a couple of weeks, flying into Heathrow, hopping a train, going to Newcastle, going to the Newcastle-Liverpool game, sitting in a box by myself. The other seat was supposed to be my wife's, but she's staying here. After that game, I'm hopping a train going to Liverpool, staying in a room about the size of smaller than the Notre Dame room. I'm going to Goodison Park and watching Everton play Chelsea. And that night, I'll spend another night in Liverpool, then I'm hopping a train to Manchester, which is like 30 minutes. And that Monday night, I'm watching Manchester United versus Brentford in Old Trafford. And then I'm hopping a train the next day going to London. I'm going to be staying near Piccadilly. And if Chelsea's playing in the Champions League that Tuesday, I'll probably go to that. Well, they have to win today. They're playing Real Madrid. And they have to win next week, I guess. But we're decided, I called my old friend Simon, known as Simone to me, and I said, let's do a meetup at the JJ Fox because I'm going to be near there. And he said that would be great, that his schedule is open, and that he's going to get some other people. He said he'd make an announcement on his page, so any of my subscribers that are in England, which I have 2, or I don't know how many I have, but that Tuesday or Wednesday, the first week of May, we're going to be meeting up at JJ Fox's and smoking our pipes together. I think that'll be a great time. I'm very excited about that. I'm also excited about eating Indian food in England. It's going to be a lot of train time for me. But I'm fine with that. If anybody's watching that's in the Newcastle area, I have an extra ticket to the Newcastle-Liverpool game. So